So it's been almost 3 years since I bought my Xbox Series X, and I've had some really great experiences and some not so great experiences with the console. Now I'm going to tell you about my personal experiences with the Series X, the games, Game Pass, and Microsoft themselves. In this video, I will show you the awesome promise of the Xbox Series X, the promises they fulfilled, and the ones that Microsoft outright failed on. I'll also show you the awesome legacy to play from a 4-generation library, and I'll show you the hardware failures that many people in Xbox's own forums have experienced. So prepare to see the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Xbox Series X and Game Pass.
Subscribe style.
You know, I was absolutely thrilled to death to get my hand on the new Xbox Series X in March 2021. It meant that I was going to be able to play the next chapter of one of my favorite franchises, Halo Infinite. And like others, play selections from 4 generations of my Xbox library, including the whole Xbox One library right here on the Series X. The Xbox Series X was great hardware performance-wise, although essentially it's a more powerful version of the Xbox One X. It was my primary console for newer games and my backwards compatible library, as well as trying out new games on Game Pass. Now, some of my favorite titles I played on the Series X, and there are reviews for some of those games on the channel: Sniper Elite 5, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Atomic Heart, Ghostbusters Remastered, and Cyberpunk 2077. The Series X controller is ever so slightly smaller, yet slightly heavier than the Xbox One controller. I was a little bit more of a fan of the Xbox One controller, I don't know why. But the one thing I really do like about this one is the texture on the back of the controller. It's great, so you have a little bit more grip. And another thing I've always loved about Xbox controllers, the wireless ones, is that you can use traditional batteries and insert rechargeable battery packs. It's an option that other controllers like PS5 and Switch just don't give you. Game Pass has basically 3 tiers. There's Core at $9.99 a month, Console at $10.99 a month, which is not advertised very well, and Ultimate at $16.99 a month. While there is a decent amount of variety of games and fairly large offering, the titles are time limited due to licensing with third parties or whatever reason Xbox has for taking off their own IPs. I was in the middle of playing Rain on Your Parade on Game Pass, and then poof! It was gone. You can buy it from Microsoft Store, which they advertise to you when you attempt to access the expired game on your console. You are taken to the Xbox Store game page for that game, and then you're asked if you want to purchase the game. That really isn't a terrible thing when it comes to convenience, but this wasn't by accident. This was baked into the very design of Game Pass. It's why Sony and Nintendo services can't really hold a candle to Game Pass marketing-wise. It's amazing that Microsoft came up with this idea, not Apple. Hey, wait a minute. Apple did create this model. Microsoft just perfected it. This tactic is stolen directly from drug dealers. The first sample or demo fix is free. Then you have to pay, with the exception that you actually paid for the samples too, and that sample is called Game Pass. Sadly, the real losers here are the third-party game developers and consumers. You now have to pay for demos that you used to get for free. The developers on these consoles' closed systems like Game Pass, Nintendo, and Sony stores are paying 30% or more for the sale of each game. Remember Xbox Live Gold? Microsoft eliminated Xbox Live Gold, which enabled players to play online, and they gave subscribers 2 free older games per month. When Game Pass Core was created, that was what Xbox Live Gold used to be essentially. But they doubled the price, which was the plan the whole time. Originally, Xbox Live Gold was only $59.99 annually. January 2021, Microsoft said it was going to double the price of Xbox Live from $60 annually to $120 annually. Within hours of announcing the price hike, Microsoft backpedaled and said they would not do that to customers because of the immense backlash. Now, to play online, you must buy Game Pass Core, the bottom tier, at $119.98 a year. That's $120 when buying monthly at $9.99 per month. But they did it anyway, and you fell for it. It took them just over a year to implement their price hike, but they did it. Game Pass Core is $10 per month. That's $120 a year just so you can play online, get access to about 36 fairly old games, and you get the privilege of access to members-only sales and discounts. Woohoo! That's it. That's $120 to play online and a bag full of garage sale caliber games, which is what the January 2021 price hike would have been, and everybody lost their shit. But with essentially the same thing in Game Pass Core, nobody said a damned word because you fell for it hook, line, and sinker. And if you get Game Pass Ultimate paid monthly at $17 per month, that's $204 annually. And there is no option to pay annually on any tier. The best you can do is $50 for 3 months, which is only an annual savings of $4 whole dollars. All of these games that I own are on Game Pass Ultimate. The total value of these games, disc only on price charting at the time of the filming of this video, is $358.17. Game Pass Ultimate gives you access to these games that you could physically buy and own forever for $358.17. Game Pass, you are paying $204 annually over and over and over again for access to old games that you could otherwise own for $358.17 that you paid for one time. So, let's say you already own these games and you do not want access to the newest games on day one, which most go away as they are, well, they're kind of timed demos anyway. Let's say you only want to play online with the games you already own.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, what?
Andstream is an alternative game service on Xbox which gives you monthly access for $3.99 or $39.99 a year, and a lifetime service offering for $79.99 for over 1,300 classic retro games, including arcade games. It's a decent service, especially if you're into the retro game scene, and they've been adding games all the time. It may not be for everyone, and it's really not for me because I own most of the games, but it's an interesting alternative to Game Pass.
Backward compatibility.
Now let's be completely honest, there is no real backward compatibility on the Series X, S, and Xbox One. It's an illusion. The architecture is based on the Xbox One X, and that's why Series X will play all of the Xbox One games, just like the PS5 plays all the PS4 games. Each console is just a more powerful version of its immediate predecessor. As for games from previous generations, like the 360 and OG Xbox, they don't play through onboard hardware emulation like the Atari 7800 plays 2600 games, the original PS3 plays PS2 games, and in case you didn't know, all PlayStation 3s play PS1 games. Yep, give it a try in your PS3 Slim or Ultra Slim. You'll have a lot of fun. The positive side of backward compatibility is that some older games run far better on the Series X than on the original hardware. Like Rainbow Six Vegas 1 and 2, they have no lag, and Fear runs at 60 frames per second. Hell, it's like playing a brand new game. This box belongs to my Series X, and as much as I loved my Series X, it had its problems, and it died. So I had to get another one, which I still haven't opened, and I have had it for almost 3 months. We'll be opening it here in just a minute. This footage is my actual gameplay. I've actually shown it on the channel a couple of times. The problems manifested just over a year owning the console. It was documented. I created videos showing the problem of it freezing during games and either crashing and returning to the dashboard, or the console would just shut off. It was always kept clean, it wasn't played too much, and was very well ventilated and covered when it wasn't in use. Additionally, I had all of the Power Miser stuff on board shut off, so it would not update, it was never on, the power never stayed on. As a matter of fact, I kept it unplugged when I wasn't using it, just because it would generate heat out of the top of it, even when the machine was all the way off and nothing was being used at all. The Microsoft operators that I told this were totally baffled, and they said, "That isn't right." And I said, "Yeah, I know, that's why I'm calling you." So when I spoke with Microsoft, they said, "Well, does it freeze all the time? Does it go back to the menus all the time or shut off all the time?" I told them it happens intermittently and depends upon what games I'm playing. They replied, and I'm Pretty sure it's a standard reply that they have for everybody. Well, if you can't get it to reliably reproduce the problem on the console, then it's probably a problem with the software in the games, and we can't help you. It probably has to be like, you know, updated, the software does. So, try the Xbox forums. I posted the videos, and that was July 9th, 2021, and September 3rd, 2021. That's documented. I even made an open letter to Microsoft Video, which of course they didn't reply. Who the hell am I? Microsoft and other companies will only care about somebody's problems if they're an influencer and if it's gonna hurt their business, like Metal Jesus, or Scott the Woz, or maybe the immortal John Hancock, or Angry Video Game Nerd. But since my name is not attached to a large audience, they don't care. Then the problems would happen from time to time until I began playing Resident Evil 4 Remake in June 2023. The game would freeze, then other games I tried froze as well. I called Microsoft and they offered to help me reset the console, even though I had documented previous problems. Now, if resetting the console back to factory didn't help, Microsoft states clearly on their website if you have to have a repair for the Series X that's out of warranty, the cost to repair is a flat $300, even if it's a $4 capacitor and 50 cents worth of solder, or a $59 power supply. They'll charge you $300 no matter what. So looking through the forums, and there are tons of people having the same problems. I looked them up back then, and I just looked them up again here recently. Ultimately, it would seem the problem is Microsoft's own power supplies that they're refusing to acknowledge and refusing to repair. They won't issue a recall because they don't want to spend the billions it would cost to repair these Xboxes. Sound familiar, Red Ring of Death crew? So people are buying their own power supplies from iFixit for $59, watching the videos and replacing them themselves, rather than paying Microsoft $300 for a $59 power supply that they refuse to admit is the problem, and that's their fault. Sound familiar, Phil Schiller? All right, the moment you've been waiting for. We're going to open this bad boy up, and it's been sitting in my closet literally for the past 3 to 4 months. Here we go. Wow, this is like really stuck on there.
That's what she said.
I should look on here and see when this one was manufactured just for the fun of it. Does not say. Oh, wow. If you follow the channel, you'll know that not only I and many other people out there were very, very, very disappointed because of Halo Infinite's horrible failures. I thought Guardians wasn't that bad, except for the promise of couch co-op, because my friends like to play co-op here, and my wife and I, we like to play couch co-op when we're playing the campaign, but Bonnie Ross and Phil Schiller decided that they were going to screw us all and lie about it, and we paid for it, and I don't see any class action lawsuits happening. So if you happen to know any attorneys and you're watching this that do class action lawsuits, give them a buzz, give them a ring, because I'm sure we can get a lot of money out of that. All we got to do is just sign up. So, all right, so that's open. Oh, listen to that. Ha ha ha! It actually came undone from the double stick tape up in the top. That's fun. Power your dreams. As long as I'm not powering my nightmares, that's all I care about. All right, let's see if I can lift this out of there. Ugh. I will say, when they packaged this, they did a tremendous job. This is like almost Apple-like packaging. And we'll, oh gosh, I forgot how heavy it is. Power your dreams. I open it up and it's just a brick. No Xbox in here at all. Ah, there she is. Now, I used to stand mine up, but I'll be laying mine down now. But there's the Xbox and all of her glory. And this and that and that, so I can get it all set up and all that jazz. So let's open up the controller, shall we? So here's the controller. We'll go ahead and open that bad boy up as well. Whoa. And how nice, they actually give you a pair of actual Duracell batteries. I hope they work. I forgot about that they actually gave you batteries. Well, they should work because they're 10-year batteries. So. Kaboom! Oh, sorry. I'm searching for an Xbox that's not plugged in. Over the last 3 years, I have experienced a mixed bag from the Series X and from Microsoft themselves. Your experience may be completely different, but, well, the facts are there regarding the hardware and what Microsoft did in order to implement doubling the cost to play online for their online service. Now, I like the idea of the Series X. I love the power of the system, but on the whole, they screwed up hard, and I'm surprised that there hasn't been a class action lawsuit already regarding the rampant power supply issues. You may have had a better experience, a similar one, or worse. Remember, I'm giving you my experience. I have presented my findings and my opinions. Well, they're mine. Negative trolling comments for the sake of being negative are not warranted, but if you've had a great experience with Series X, well, that's great. Consider yourself blessed. But when it comes to reliability, ease of use, and less BS, I will take the PlayStation 5 over the Series X this generation around. Now that you have learned some of the things that you may not have known before, what do you think about the Series X and Game Pass? And please, let's keep it respectful in the comments. We'll see you all very, very soon. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please hit the like button because it helps the YouTube algorithm spread the video to more awesome people just like you. Subscribe for more here in Dr. Scott's Game Closet, and there's plenty more where this one came from, so click on a video for more video game shenanigans. We'll see you all very, very soon.